It's 1926. You've all most likely parked your Model T Fords, your Ford Model Ts in the lot outside, perhaps paying off the last of the $270 you spent on them. By the way, this will be your last Model T. 1926 is the last year Ford built the Tin Lizzie. I hope you've grabbed yourself a cocktail. Tonight we're serving a concoction called the Bee's Knees, a delicious blend of honey, tonic, and jam. Between you and me, we all know that alcohol is strictly forbidden in 1926. At this point, we're about halfway through Prohibition. No worries. Even in 1926, it wasn't tough to score a few barrels from smuggler friends up north. Lake Erie was described as America's quiet liquor highway at the time. The booze sailed south in a variety of ways. Rum runners, mobsters, and fishermen trolling for so-called midnight herring. It was said that you could, if you listened carefully, you could hear the herring chinking in the hull of the ship. Our signature cocktail tonight is the Bee's Knees, a classic Prohibition cocktail with gin, lemon juice, and honey syrup. The phrase Bee's Knees was flower era slang for the best. And just a quick aside from 100 years in the future, that gin you were drinking tonight is not from Canada, but from a totally legit distillery across town. As a quick toast of thanks to our generous distillers at Luminaire. So 1926, I wonder what your day has been like today before you come in. Perhaps you went shopping. Among the hot shopping trends that year was Egyptomania. The tomb of King Tut had just been opened a few years earlier, and people couldn't get enough of it, including jewelry, furniture, and even perfume. Here's an ad for Palmolive soap featuring a woman who surely never did dishes, Cleopatra. Indeed, many of the signature elements of Art Deco drew on this Egyptian aesthetic, including pyramids and sphinxes that graced many of the movie houses of the time, like the Warner down on State Street. Odd purchased items of that year included the Toastmaster. This is the first year that actually the portable toaster actually was available in homes. And also starting to make appearance in kitchens in 1926 were refrigerators that started to look a little bit more like what we're used to today. But like all bold innovations, there were some bumps in the road. Early electric refrigerators could leak toxic gases like sulfur dioxide and methyl chloride. In 1926, there were several instances of families dying of poisoned gases leaking from the refrigerator. Thomas Edison saw this as a challenge and created a safer option that was patented in 1930. And of course, GE was an early leader in the refrigerator race. Here in Erie, a national kitchen staple was being minted every day at the Griswold factory at 12th and Raspberry. This is still standing. A longtime leader in cast iron skillets and waffle irons. For those of you who like to scope out potential treasures in your attics or garage sales, 1926 was the year that Griswold changed its logo. They shifted from the namesake italics to a more straight-laced font, seen here on the right. If you have a pan with the old italic logo, you may own something of interest to collectors, who might pay hundreds or even thousands of dollars. In terms of media, 1926 saw the creation of the National Broadcast Network, origin of today's NBC. This was the first national network. By 1926, radio was moving from a novelty to a common household item. The models that year offered some primitive loudspeaker technology that finally enabled families to gather around and listen together. In the years before, people listened using headphones. I thought that was really interesting. There was a surge of radio ownership at this time, and by 1930, 50% of American homes posted a radio. When they weren't listening to radio, people in 1926 read some of the best-selling books of the year. A few of the favorites are still famous today, including Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and Showboat. The top seller of the year was The Secret Life of Helen of Troy. I can only imagine what Helen was up to. Of course, everyone read the newspaper as well. At the time, Erie had at least 7 regular newspapers in 1926, including Erie Tageblatt, a German-language paper. Big news stories that year included the Phantom Burglar, or the Phantom of Erie, who was terrorizing the city with a rash of stealth break-ins. There were stories of a big building going up downtown, reflective of the economic boom at the time. The Erie Trust Company was building a veritable skyscraper on 10th and State. That building still stands today, now known as the Renaissance Center, soon to be a boutique hotel. And closer to home, in a story that ran exactly 100 years ago today, you could read about some tensions between the newly created Lawrence Park Township and the village of Wesleyville. Wesleyville apparently scorned what may have been aggressive courtship of Lawrence Park to join. Wesleyville folks at the time favored the idea of becoming part of Erie instead. It wasn't anything personal. They saw the city at the time as offering richer services. Of course, later the two would join up in a different way to form the Iroquois School District a few decades later. Perhaps you ended the day by taking in a silent movie at one of the movie houses downtown. A few years ago, you'd have taken the streetcar, but by 1926, cars had pretty much taken over. The Perry Theater at 10th and State, on 10th between State and Peach, was the place to go. Sadly, this grand old building was torn down in 1967, along with the adjacent Lawrence Hotel you can see right behind it, to build the Hilton Hotel, which is that building downtown that they just spray painted black. I think I prefer the Perry. Surely you stocked up on cinema snacks. 1926 was the year that brought us Milk Duds and Raisinets. The Baby Ruth was a few years old by that time, and surprisingly not named for the baseball babe. According to the company, it was named for the daughter of President Grover Cleveland, though most likely it was just a way to get out of paying Babe Ruth any royalties. Buster Keaton's classic The General was the hot movie that year. It was released in 1926. Keaton was famous for his ability to calmly react to whatever calamity was thrown his way. There's a very brief clip appropriate for a township known for building trains. Take a look at this, it's imprinting on the tracks.
That's in the video. That's in the video now.
Calvin Coolidge is our president in 1926. For such a raucous time socially, Coolidge was a really quiet man. He's the soft-spoken former mayor of Northampton, Massachusetts. And he's the only president who shares a birthday with the country. He was born July 4th, 1872. Part of his duties in 1926 was to make a statement about the country's 150th birthday. His July 4th speech is notable for how it resonates today. He asked the question about what the United States truly is at its core, and how the celebration can help remind us of the inspiring aspirations of the nation. From his speech at Independence Hall in Philadelphia. Quote, amid all the clash of conflicting interests, amid all the welter of partisan politics, every American can turn for solace and consolation to the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States, with the assurance and confidence that those two great charters of freedom and justice remain firm and unshaken. Whatever perils appear, whatever dangers threaten, the nation remains secure in the knowledge that the ultimate appreciation of the law of the land will provide adequate defense and protection. Now that you've actually had a good grounding of what's going on in the country, here's a quick story about how Lawrence Park came to be and why we're all sitting here in this room celebrating the 100th anniversary of Lawrence Park. Thomas Edison's inventive mind had lit up the East Coast in 1880 when Edison Electric flickered on in New Jersey, and in 1892 it evolved into General Electric. By 1906, GE's epic Schenectady headquarters was already at capacity. GE sent Francis Pratt west to scout the location for the next GE plant. While Buffalo and Cleveland were top of his list, he stopped first in Erie to visit a friend from Yale, Matthew Griswold, the heir to the cast iron skillet fortune. Griswold showed him around town. Erie had a bustling port, railroad access, a good labor climate, and most importantly, land. An attractive parcel of 800 acres in East Mill Creek caught their eye, and that land was to become Lawrence Park. While the factory started taking shape, attention moved to building, this is Pratt and Griswold growing right here, sorry. While the factory started taking shape, attention moved to building a community. Pioneering landscape architect John Nolan had a vision. He was a fan of the Garden City movement emerging in Europe. Housing would offer access to green spaces. His innovative plan including state-of-the-art electric plumbing, and central heat. The neighborhoods would feature tree-lined streets, sidewalks, parks, and green lights. The town would be called Lawrence Park, a tribute to Captain James Lawrence, the War of 1812 hero, famous for his naval battle command, don't give up the ship.
Christine Lorraine Morgan.
The first streets would be named for famous scientists, inventors, and engineers. There we go. You've been seeing this earlier. Rankin, Sullivan, Smithson, and Moores. While construction started in 1910 and would kick into overdrive during World War I, Lawrence Park didn't become its own township until February 8, 1926, the centennial year celebrated this year. And interestingly, not just Lawrence Park is celebrating its 100th birthday this year. Local legend and esteemed township historian Marge McLean also entered the scene in 1926. So celebrating with her so far tonight. It's also an occasion to look ahead to the younger generation, the next generation. The Lawrence Park Centennial sponsored an art and essay contest with the Iroquois School District. Tonight I'm happy to announce the winners. In the essay contest, third place goes to Jelena Jaracheski. Second place goes to Ava Shapansky. And first place goes to Dominic Cancilla for his essay, Don't Give Up the Relationship, Lawrence Park in the Next 100 Years. Here's a quick excerpt from Dominic's winning essay. It's truly amazing to see how a town built for and made by a group of General Electric employees could grow into something greater, something people genuinely take pride in to this day. I would also hope to see new, younger people taking up new leadership roles and initiative to put a positive impact on the township. In the art contest, we had two co-winners. They were both so great. First is Rosalind Homan for Il Futuro. This is based on the streaming series Stranger Things, and this 3D-like painting shows a past, present, and future gateway to Main Street in Lawrence Park. And our other winner is Angeles Perez Morales for her spot-on rendering. Just as Lawrence Park emerged from an idea in a meeting in a corporate conference room in upstate New York, tonight's event is in courtesy of some of our generous partners who helped make tonight's night possible. Sincere thank you to all of our partners. Wabtec, American Legion, Carl Neff Post 571, Americo, Bates Collision, Brown's Automotive, Yendy's Mobile Home Park, Lawrence Park Athletic Club, Lawrence Park Garden Club, Lawrence Park High School Class of 1965, St. Mary's Episcopal Church, Huey Local 506, that's it. And also St. Mark the Evangelist Catholic Church for providing our venue tonight. And I mentioned earlier the luminaire, who's our official William Moonshine Fellowship tonight. We'll wrap the program in a minute. At this point, just some housekeeping. Get yourself a cocktail or a drink. Dance music will be playing for the rest of the night. Vintage t-shirts for the Centennial are actually, we created 3 of the designs. One is for children. It's 3 kind of hallmark moments of growing up in Lawrence Park. That's the white one, which is available in both children's and adult sizes. And a t-shirt and I think a sweatshirt. And then there's 2 other ones which are architectural landmarks of Lawrence Park, both existing and from the past. Those are only available for adults. They're available, actually, you can go to our website and order whatever size. We have samples back there on the hat rack in the back corner. Okay, Mahjong, maybe people notice that there's a bunch of tiles on the table in the back there. Mahjong apparently was all the rage in 1926. It was like the hottest game. It's actually kind of having a resurgence these days. So there's actually a Mahjong game set up on a table in the back corner, so please go. There's also a little kind of tableau in the back corner over here, which was intended as a fun place to actually take photographs in your flower refinery. So definitely take advantage of doing that. And there will be a best costume contest. No need to enter. We're going to have some judges just wandering around the room. There's 3 categories: best lady, best gentleman, and best couple. And the prize includes a bottle of the gin you're all sipping tonight. In addition, actually, we have some gift baskets that you can actually buy tickets for. One is actually a box set.